You're not trapped because someone locked the door. You're trapped because you stopped trying to open it. That's the part nobody wants to admit. You wake up every morning inside a life that feels inevitable. Like this is just how things are. Like this is what adulthood looks like. Like dissatisfaction is the price of being realistic. You don't question it anymore. You just move through it. You put your clothes on, you play your role, you repeat the motions, and you tell yourself this is normal, that everyone feels this way, that wanting more is childish, dangerous, naive. But listen carefully. Normal doesn't mean natural, and common doesn't mean inevitable. What you call stability is just a slow form of surrender. At some point, you stopped choosing and started complying. Not dramatically, not all at once, quietly. You compromised a little here, delayed a little there. You told yourself you'd decide later. You told yourself you weren't ready yet. You told yourself you needed more time, more money, more certainty. And without noticing, later never came. Life kept moving. You stayed still. Now you live inside routines you didn't consciously design. You defend choices you don't even remember making. You protect a life that doesn't actually feel like yours. And the strangest part? You're exhausted. Not from effort, but from avoidance. You're tired because every day requires pretending this is what you wanted. Pretending you chose this. Pretending you're okay with the trade you made. And that lie costs energy. It drains you slowly. That's why rest doesn't fix it. Vacations don't fix it. Entertainment doesn't fix it. Because the problem isn't that you're tired, it's that you're living someone else's idea of a life and calling it responsibility. Deep down, you know something is wrong. You feel it in the quiet moments, late at night, early in the morning, those brief gaps where distraction hasn't arrived yet. There's a pressure in your chest, a vague sense of urgency with nowhere to go, a feeling that time is slipping faster than it should. That feeling isn't anxiety, it's awareness knocking. And you hate it because awareness demands something from you. It doesn't let you hide behind excuses. It doesn't care about how reasonable your justifications sound. Awareness strips everything down to one brutal truth. You are here because you keep choosing to stay here. Not because you're trapped, not because you're powerless, but because choosing differently would force you to accept responsibility for your own existence. That's the real fear. If you admit you could leave, you'd have to ask why you haven't. If you admit you could change, you'd have to face why you didn't. If you admit you're free, you'd have to accept that this life, exactly as it is something you're actively allowing. So instead, you distract yourself, you stay busy, you scroll, you consume, you keep your mind occupied enough that the question never fully forms. You turn freedom into background noise, something theoretical, something philosophical, something you talk about but never touch. Because touching it would burn. Freedom isn't comforting. It doesn't feel empowering at first. It feels like standing at the edge of something with no instructions and no guarantees. It feels like realizing there's no script, no correct path, no safety net waiting underneath. Just you and the weight of choosing without certainty. So you cling to structure, to routines, to expectations, to labels, to identities that feel solid enough to stand on. Employee, partner, responsible adult, good person. You wear them like armor. They protect you from the terrifying question underneath. If none of this was assigned to me, what would I actually choose? Most people never answer that question. They don't even let themselves ask it. Instead, they wait for motivation, for clarity, for confidence, for permission, for a sign that never comes. And while they wait, life keeps narrowing. Options quietly disappear. Doors close without ceremony, and what once felt like freedom slowly hardens into inevitability. Then one day they look around and say, "It's too late now," not realizing that sentence is the final lie they tell themselves. It's never too late to choose. It's just harder once you've practiced avoiding it for years. The truth is brutal, and that's why it works. No one is coming to rescue you from this. No moment will arrive where fear disappears and certainty replaces it. No authority will step in and tell you which life to live. That discomfort you feel, that tension, that restlessness, that quiet dissatisfaction, that's not a problem to solve. That's the price of being conscious. And you can keep numbing it if you want. Most people do. They'll scroll until their eyes hurt. They'll laugh at things that don't move them. They'll stay in lives that slowly hollow them out. They'll call it maturity. They'll call it realism. They'll call it just how things are. But deep down they know. You know too. You know that continuing like this is also a choice. You know that waiting is still deciding. You know that inaction is not neutral. It shapes your life just as surely as action does. So here's the question you can't escape anymore. Are you willing to carry the weight of choosing, or would you rather live lightly by becoming nothing in particular? Because freedom doesn't ask if you're ready. It only asks if you're honest. And once you see it clearly, you don't get to unknow it.